Good afternoon, dear students. I am Lattarani TR, Assistant Professor, Department of CSE, Acharya Institute of Technology, Bangalore. Today we are going to discuss about the subject Unix Programming, which is in the 5th semester, whose subject code is 18CS56. So here in this part we are going to see the introduction of Unix programming. So here this subject Unix programming is having the combination of shell programming and system programming. In earlier syllabus there were two different subjects. Shell programming was a subject and system programming was another subject. But here in this subject both subjects are merged. So like first two modules of Unix programming is shell programming and remaining three are the system programming modules. Okay, so we'll be learning the Unix programming, both shell and the system programming. So for this subject, the recommended textbooks are, there are three textbooks which you need to refer. The first one is the Sumitaba Das authored book, Unix Concepts and Applications, 4th edition, Tata McGraw-Hill publication, and from this textbook you will go through all these chapters. Okay, so these chapters from this textbook will be covering your syllabus, that is first two modules. Okay, from this textbook you will be learning first two modules. Then the second textbook is Richard Stevens, Advanced Programming in the Unix Environment, 2nd edition, Pearson Education publication, and here you will be studying all these chapters. That is 3rd, 4th and 5th module it will cover. So these chapters you have to go through from this textbook. Then the third textbook is Unix System Programming using C++, authored by Terence Chan, PHI publication, and these chapters you will be going through from this textbook. Okay, so you will be going through these chapters, that is also covering 3rd, 4th and 5th modules, some concepts of 3rd, 4th and 5th modules. Okay, so next let us see what are the outcomes, course outcomes. So you are already familiar with what is a course outcome, right? What is a course? Course is Unix programming here, and outcomes of this course. Outcomes means after you learn this course what you will be able to do. So that is course outcome. So I have listed here 5 course outcomes. You should be able to do all these 5 things after we complete learning this Unix programming subject, that is course. Okay, the first one is discover the Unix environment. Environment in the sense, so what are the components of the Unix, what is the architecture, how it works, all those things, and the file system, how it manages the files, how it stores, how it is created, what are the different types of files, how it is handled, that we will be studying. And also its basic commands utility. You will be learning the commands of the Unix. So using all these knowledge you will be able to understand what is the Unix environment, file system and its command. You will learn all those things, you will discover them. Then use shell programming to write shell scripts. So you will be learning shell programming. Here another programming language you will be learning. So you might have learned few programming languages in your earlier semesters. In this semester, in this course, you will be learning another programming language which is called as shell programming. Okay, using the shell programming language, you will be writing shell scripts. Okay, the programs which are written using shell programming are called as shell scripts, which can be run on the Unix environment. Then you will be able to analyze APIs, application programming interfaces, for process management in Unix. So what is a process, how it is maintained, how it is handled through APIs, all those things we will be learning, and you will be able to create your own processes and manage them. Okay. Then finally, fourth course outcome is demonstrate inter-process and client-server communication. So after you learn how to manage the process, you can perform inter-process communication. That means one process to another process, you can establish communication, and also client-server communication. That means networking. You can write the programs for networking. Then the final course outcome is examine Unix kernel support for signals and daemon processes. So you will be examining the kernel support, what kernel is support, what kind of support it is establishing for signals and daemon processes, and you will also be able to make use of the signals and daemon processes for working with the Unix environment. So these are the course outcomes of Unix programming. So let us start with the subject. So before we learn about Unix, we should know what is operating system. Why? Because Unix is also an operating system, right? So what are the other operating systems you know? You have worked with you have worked with Windows, right? You have worked with, some of you might have worked with iOS, Apple iOS operating systems, and then regularly you will be making use of Android operating system on your smartphones, right? And Ubuntu, Linux you have come across, right? You have executed some of the DA and DS programs on Linux platform. So those are all the examples of operating systems. So let us see what is this operating system. Operating system, in short OS, acts as an interface between the end user and the computer hardware. Okay, it is an interface. Usually we call an operating system as an interface between the user and the computer hardware. So how the user communicates with the hardware of the system? It is through the operating system. It is also called as a resource manager. So why it is called as a resource manager? Because it manages all the resources of the computer. It is a set of software routines. Operating system is a set of software routines. It will allow users and application programs to access system resources. So what are these resources of the system? What do we call the resources of a system? Is the CPU, the time of the CPU, memory of the system, disks of the system, modems, printers, network cards, IO devices, etc. Okay, all those are called as the resources of a system. So operating system is responsible for managing all these resources of the system, hence it is called as the resource manager. Okay, hence it is called as the resource manager. Its task is vast. It has many functionalities, important functionalities to do in the system. An operating system, it is a software which performs these basic tasks. The basic tasks like the file management, memory management, process management, handling input output, and controlling peripheral devices such as disk drives and printers. So all these operations the operating system will perform. Okay, so maybe in this semester the whole operating system you will study as a subject. So there you will come across all these operations of operating system, and they will be different chapters. Actually, file management is one chapter, memory management is another chapter, process management is another chapter, IO handling is a chapter. Okay, like that each functionality of an operating system is a separate chapter. So these are the basic operations of an operating system. It manages the files of the system. It manages memory like allocation and deallocation. Then process management. So what is a process? Now the question comes, what is a process? Process means when you write a program in any programming language, let us say for example C, in C programming language you write a program and save it on the disk. What it is called as? It is called as a program, right? When you save it on the disk, it is called as a program. But when you load it onto the memory and you run it, so that executing ongoing program under execution program is called as a process. That is a living entity. Okay, that living entity is called as a process. When you store simply on a disk a program, it is a program, but when you run that program, when it is in under execution condition, that becomes a process. When it has life, then it becomes a process. A process is usually called as a living entity in a operating system. So then input output it will handle, and also the peripheral devices like disk drives and printers etc. will also be managed by the operating system. Some of the examples of operating systems are Windows, Mac iOS, Linux, Ubuntu, Android etc. There are plenty of operating systems. You can list, you can just Google and check for different operating systems. It will list up plenty of operating systems you might not have heard of. Okay, please do that. Let it be an exercise for you. When you come to the next class, list the different operating systems available in the market and come. Let us see who will list the most number of operating systems. Okay. Next, coming to the features of Unix operating system. So here we are learning about the Unix programming, as Unix is an operating system. So why we should learn Unix? What are the separate features, important features of Unix operating system we must study? So let us list the features of Unix operating system. This is an important question paper question. This is from the syllabus. Okay, so it is an important question paper question. Please make a note of it. Okay, several features of Unix have made it popular, which is not available in few other operating systems. Those features are available in Unix. That's why it has made it popular. So the features of Unix are, it is portable. The Unix operating system can be installed on many hardware platforms. Okay, hence it is portable. The program you write in one machine can also be run on the other machine. So it is portable. Then multi-user. This operating system will allow many users to concurrently work. Parallelly, many users can work with the operating system. Hence, it is multi-user operating system. So, many users can share the hardware and software. Then it is multitasking, means many tasks parallelly we can run. Okay, Unix allows a user to run more than one program at a time. And how it will run? In BG and FGE, means background and foreground. So one active task can run in the foreground and rest of the task may be running in the background. Okay, so multiple tasks at the same time can be executed. Hence we call Unix as a multitasking operating system. Next support is networking. It provides networking. What is networking? Connecting one computer to another computer. They may be situated in the same place, or the computers may be situated in remote places also. Then also you can connect them for performing some sharing operations like files, data, or hardware devices, memory. Okay, any such resources we can share through networking. Okay, access to another system using standard communication protocols like TCP/IP, Transmission Control Protocol, Internet Protocol. Because of this networking only we are able to make use of internet. Okay, so this is a major protocol which supports internet facility. Transmission control protocol, internet protocol, we call in short as TCP IP. You'll be learning this protocol in detail in the subject computer networks. Okay, so using this protocol, this operating system will allow us to make use of the feature of networking, connecting the computers to share the resources. Next feature is organized file system. So the Unix provides a organized file system. It has a very organized file and directory system that allows user to organize and maintain the files. A hierarchy of files. There is a major folder called root, under which all other directories will come. It is a tree structured file system. Okay, so the root, under the root, which is a main node, the sub nodes will come. In the next level, we will be learning about this in detail in our upcoming discussions. Some of the built-in folders will come. Under built-in folders, the user defined folders and files will come. Okay, so organized file system is supported by Unix, hence it is very easy and in an organized way we can maintain the files. Then device independence. So here Unix treats input or output devices like ordinary files. Actually in Unix anything is treated as a file itself. Anything and everything in Unix is a file. Let it be the devices which are connected to the computer, let it be the components of the let it be the hardware, the components of operating system, the operating system itself, the commands which you execute on the computer, the streams, the data in input output streams what you use in the program, all those things, everything is treated as a file in Unix. Okay, so device, even the devices which are connected to the system, so like let it be a mouse or a display monitor or a printer or whatever the device you are going to connect to your system will be treated as a file, and hence it is easy to access and work with the devices. Then utilities. Next feature is utilities. Unix provides a rich library of utilities that can be used to increase user productivity. Okay, it provides a rich library of utilities using which the user can program. Then building block approach. So here, as I said, Unix provides some commands. Okay, so Unix operating system, you can use many commands, some of which we'll practice today. That's why I've asked you to download Termux. We will execute some of the commands. Okay, so those commands are very simple commands which perform a very simple task. Okay, so for each simple task there is a command. So commands are not performing complex operations, they are performing very simple operations. If you want to perform a complex operation, you can club the commands with one another and you can achieve a complex task. Okay, so that is called as building block approach. Small commands with simple functionality is available with Unix. So it says in the textbook, the sentence is given, small is beautiful. That means as small as the command is, you can perform the simpler tasks. Okay, and if you want to perform a complex task, you have to club many commands and you have to perform the operation, complex task. Then the pattern matching, which is a very important feature of Unix operating system. It is a Unix provides a sophisticated pattern matching features using some commands like grep, egrep, etc. So pattern matching means you will write a pattern and for that pattern you will search whether it is a file name or content in the file. You can create a pattern using meta characters. Okay, we call them as meta characters. We'll be learning them in our upcoming discussions. So using meta characters you can build the pattern general form of a pattern and you can search for it. Okay, so that pattern matching is a wonderful feature of Unix, most important feature of Unix. Then programming facility, it also provides the programming facility. As I told you when I was discussing about the course outcomes, it provides a programming language also. Unix shell is also a programming language. So what is the shell? Shell is a component of Unix operating system. It is not just a component, it is also a programming language. Actually shell performs different roles, one of which is it is also a programming language. Okay, so shell programming language you can use and you can write the shell scripts for executing the programs. It will also give you the programming constructs which are supported in other programming languages, like it will give you the looping constructs, decision making constructs like if, switch, loops, for loop, while loop, do while loop, and other features. Okay, so like other programming languages, what constructs they will provide, same kind of constructs this programming language also will provide. Okay, so we'll be learning how to write shell scripts also. So this is also one of the very good feature of Unix. Then documentation. So documentation about the commands of Unix, any feature of Unix is available. A huge set of pages which are called as man pages. Okay, man pages stands for manual pages, means manual, it is giving you the instructions to how to make use of those commands. Okay, I'll be telling you how to make use of this command. Man is actually a command to get the manual pages of different commands. Suppose a command is there and you don't know how to work with that command, then you can go to the manual pages of that command and you can check. You can come to know how you can make use of that command. So those are the features of Unix operating system. So next comes the Unix architecture. This is also a very important topic with respect to question paper. Okay, it is a very important question paper question. The Unix architecture. So this is the diagram which shows the architecture of Unix. This diagram only you have to write when Unix architecture is asked. Okay, there are other smallest version of this architecture diagrams available, but don't go for any other architecture diagram. It is given in Samita Bada's textbook. You'll have to write this diagram only. Okay, so see here, this architecture diagram will tell you different components of the operating system. There are actually two major components of operating system, Unix operating system. One is the shell and the other one is the kernel. Okay, shell and the kernel. These are the two major components of operating system. Okay, now you can see the core of the operating system is the hardware and user is at the external end of the operating system. So user can communicate to shell for performing any operation on operating system. Shell in turn will pass the user command or instruction to the kernel, then through the system calls. Okay, so user through system calls can communicate to kernel, and kernel in turn will communicate to hardware and see that the work is done, get the work done. Okay, so that is how the procedure is. So users can give the instructions or the command to the shell, then shell will interpret your command, it brings it to a simpler way and then pass it on to the kernel. Then kernel through the system calls it will pass it on. Then kernel will directly communicate to the hardware and see that the work is done. Okay, and you can see that there can be many shells in the operating system, one for each user. So as we have discussed, one of the feature of Unix is multi-user operating system, right? So Unix is a multi-user operating system, and hence this shells are the interface between the user and the kernel. Okay, shell is an interface between the user and the kernel. See, shell performs multiple roles, I said, right? It is also a programming language, it is a command interpreter, it is also an interface between the user and the kernel. Okay, so user will give the command to the shell, shell will interpret it, any meta characters are there, it will bring it to the simplest form, and then it will pass it on the command to the kernel. The kernel will actually do the execution by communicating with the hardware. Okay, this is called as division of labor. Means the labor means the work is divided between the shell and the kernel. Okay, so there can be multiple shells, but there will be only one kernel which will communicate with the hardware. And you can see here some of the commands. These are the commands, okay, like ls stands for list, sort, sed, who, ps for program status, process status, tar, grep for pattern matching, cp for copy. Okay, these are all the commands which are present in the shell. The commands which are present within the shell are called as internal commands. Okay, not only these are not the commands, there are plenty of commands inside the shell. Okay, those are called as internal commands. Other commands will be existing somewhere in some directory, probably usr bin. In bin directory other commands will be residing, and they are called as external commands. Sometimes some commands may be externally present also, and as well as inside the shell also it will be present. In that case the shell will always prefer to the internal command. Okay, so in C also we have seen, right, if there is a variable with same name, a global variable and a local variable with the same name, if we have, the program always prefers the local variable, right? Similarly here, if there is a command which is existing as external command as well as internal command, then the shell gives preference to the internal command. So after that, in the last layer of the operating system, different softwares which are used for working with operating system are listed. Okay, like browsers, text processors, databases, spreadsheets, compilers, CC you have used, right? C compiler, it stands for C compiler. So those softwares are residing in the last layer of the operating system. Okay, so this is about the architecture of Unix, and the title you can see, it is this diagram is depicting the kernel shell relationship. So kernel and shell are the two major components of Unix architecture, and it gives you the concept of division of labor. Shell performs some part of work and kernel performs some other part of work. Users are always connected to the shell because it is an interface between the kernel and the user. User will give the command to the shell. Shell will interpret the command. It will take the meta characters and it will convert it into a simplest form which is executable, and it will pass it on to the kernel. Then kernel in turn will take execution of the command by communicating with the hardware. Okay, and these are all the internal commands of shell. There can be multiple shells, one each for one user, and there is only one kernel in the Unix operating system. Okay, so this is about the Unix architecture. So this is the same thing what I just told. Unix architecture comprises of two major components, the shell and the kernel, which gives you the concept of division of labor. Kernel interacts with machine hardware, shell interacts with the user. The kernel is the core of the operating system. Okay, what is kernel? It is a collection of routines written in C. Okay, it is a software. It is a collection of routines which are written in C. So kernel is also written in C. As I said, everything in Unix is a file. So here you can see this shell and the kernel, which are the major components of Unix architecture, also stored as files. Okay, then it is loaded into the memory when the system is booted. The kernel is loaded into the memory when system is switched on, booted. Communicates directly with the hardware. The kernel communicates directly with the hardware. Then user programs that need to access the hardware use the services of kernel via system calls. I told you, no? So system calls are nothing but some functions which are existing in the Unix environment, using which you can access the kernel to perform any job. We will be learning more about the system calls in our upcoming discussions. It is an important topic. Then kernel is also responsible for other operations, some housekeeping operations kernel will do, that is managing system memory, scheduling the processes and deciding their priorities. Managing the system memory means allocation and deallocation of memory, sometimes garbage collection. Garbage collection, you know what is garbage collection? Maybe in Java you have studied, right? Removal of unwanted occupying of memory automatically. That is garbage collection, right? Then schedules processes. So as I said, process is a program under execution. It will schedule which process have to execute first, which one next. That will be scheduled by the kernel. Then how it will schedule? Based on the priorities. First it will decide the priorities of the processes. According to the priority of the processes, it will schedule them for execution. So these are all the operations performed by the kernel. So when the question is asked, the architecture of Unix question is asked, then you have to write all these things. Okay, all points you have to mention. The shell performs the role of command interpreter because the user gives the command, shell will be accepting it and it will interpret the command. There is only one kernel, but there can be several shells, one each for one user who have logged in. The shell is responsible for interpreting the meaning of meta characters. I told you, no, meta characters means some special characters which will be there in the command, like star, hash, at, brackets, and dollar, some other symbols. Okay, we will be learning them, the meta characters. If any such meta characters are there in the command, it will be interpreted, it will be brought into the simplest form, and then it will hand over the command to the kernel for execution. It is also a programming language. Shell is also a programming language. The file and the process. As we discussed, everything in Unix is a file. A file is nothing but an array of bytes that stores the information. Everything in Unix is treated as a file. A process is a time image of an executable file, means that is a program under execution. It is a living entity. So one process can spawn other process. One process can give birth to another process. So it is usually called as a living entity. Okay, living entity means it has parents, it has child, it has grandchildren, like that. Okay, we will be studying about that in our discussions later. It is a program under execution and it is considered a living entity. Then internal and external commands I have already told you. Some commands are already a part of the shell and some of the commands may be outside the shell. somewhere on the disk. Usually it will be in bin directory. So those are external commands. The commands which are residing inside the shell are internal commands. They are called as also built-in commands. If a command exists both internal and external command, it is always preferring the internal command. See, externally it may be present in /bin directory or usr bin directory. Some built-in commands examples are echo, pwd, etc. Okay. Echo means it will display whatever you give. PWD means it will display the present working directory. It stands for present working directory. Then about the system calls. I told you the user communicates to kernel through some functions. Those are system calls. So thousands of commands in Unix use a handful of functions called system calls to communicate with the kernel. A system call is a way for programs to interact with operating system. A computer program makes a system call when it makes a request to the operating system's kernel. All Unix flavors use same system calls. That means there are many versions of Unix. So all of them make use of same system calls. Hence the programs are portable from one version of Unix to another versions of Unix. All programs needing resources must use system call. So any program which is accessing the resources of the system like hardware, it need to use the system calls for accessing the resources. Examples of system calls are like create, open, close, read, write, abort, etc. We will be studying many of them in our third, fourth and fifth modules, where we will be studying the system functions, system programming. Okay, so these are the concepts with related to Unix operating system. So today we have studied what is an operating system and what is Unix operating system, what are the different features, salient features of Unix operating system, and also the architecture of Unix. See, when you have to when you are answering architecture of Unix, you will have to write that diagram. I'll just brief it out. You will have to write this architecture diagram, and you have to explain this diagram. You need to write, you have to explain about the kernel and the shell in detail, and also you have to write about internal and external commands. You have to write about system calls, and you also have to explain about the files and processes. All these things constitute the architecture of Unix. Okay, it may be for 8 to 10 marks, so you have to write all of them as a part of the answer. Clear? Okay, now we'll see some of the commands of Unix, how to execute the commands of Unix using Termux. Okay, now I have opened Termux. You can also open your Termux, or if you are already having installed Ubuntu or Linux on your laptop, you can work in that also. Open the terminal and you can start working with the command. So here I have already worked with some commands. So it is the screen is completely filled, right? So I have to clear the screen. So for clearing the screen, you have to type clear. Clear is the command which will clear the screen. See, it has cleared the screen. Okay, so now we'll start with very basic commands. You can also open the software and work with me parallelly. Let us type a command called, see, this is called as the command prompt. The dollar what you are looking at, is called as the command prompt. It from where the command starts. Okay, so dollar prompt, you can change that symbol also. Usually it will be a dollar prompt. Okay, so let us type a command date. So when you type a command date, it is giving you today's date and time. Okay, and time zone and the year also. Okay, so it will give you the today's date and time details when you type the command date. Okay, then you can type pwd. Is it visible? Okay, you can type the command pwd. Just now we discussed about pwd, right? What is pwd stands for? It stands for present working directory. So it will show you in which directory currently you are working. Directory is nothing but the folder. Okay, in which current directory you are working. You are working in /data /count.tmx/files/home. Okay, in this directory you are working. Then you type another command called cal. Okay, another command called cal. Cal is used for displaying the calendar. See, when you type cal, it will display the calendar of the current month, September 2020. And the date also is highlighted. See, 2nd Wednesday, date is also highlighted. Then if you would like to see the whole year's calendar, you can say cal 2020. See, it will give you the calendar of the entire year, right? The whole year calendar. See, we have given here calendar 2020, so which has given from January to December, whole year's calendar it has displayed. Okay, now I have typed cal 03/2020. It is showing 03 means March month, right? So it is showing the calendar of the March month. Then we have a command called who. See, who command, it is not found. See, all of the commands may not work here because it will be having limited functionality. I'll just tell you what is this who command. As we have discussed the features of Unix, Unix is a multi-user operating system, right? So when Unix is a multi-user operating system, you can check with who command who are all the users currently working on the operating system. Who command will list all the users who are currently working on the operating system. Next we have echo command. Echo space, you can give some message. I'll say hello, good morning. Okay, I'll say echo hello, good morning. So whatever the message I have given, it has displayed, right? Echo hello, good morning. So hello, good morning is the message which is displayed. Echo means it will echo whatever the message you have given. It is something like printf statement in your C program. We have printf also here, but that is having some additional functionality. So that is the use of echo. Then we have command ls. Okay, let me clear the screen so that it will be visible clearly to you. let us say ls. ls is a command which stands for list. What it will do, it will list all the files and directories in our current directory. See, these are the 3 files. Okay, new with 2 W's and TypeScript. These are the 3 files which are present in the current directory. ls for listing the files and directories which are in our current directory. You can use a command with ls command with some option, that is minus l. Okay, ls minus l you can use. So now the same files it will show. See here, the new file is there here, and here new with ww is there, and here you can see TypeScript is also there. Okay, so it is showing, it is listing all the directories which are shown before, but with some additional information. So these are all the attributes what it is displaying with file names. Those are all the attributes of the file. Attributes means permissions, the size of the file, who is the owner of the file, when it is created, at what time, what date, all those details will be shown here with ls minus l. That minus l stands for long. ls is list, minus l is long, so ls minus l is long list. Okay. Then we have another command. Let us check with man whether it works or not. Say man ls. Okay, this is not installed, so you can install. Okay, pkg install man, if you give, you can install the man command. You try that. Okay, next we have expr command. Okay, let me clear the screen. Next we have expr command. expr for expression. You can give any expression, it will calculate. Let us say 23 plus 6. It is not giving you the calculated result because you need to give a space in between. expr 23 space plus 6 space 6. Before and after the operator you need to leave a space, otherwise it will not work. See now, it has calculated 23 plus 6 and it has displayed. Similarly, you can use any other expressions also here. 56 minus 4. Oh, sorry, space is not left. 56 minus 4. So like this, expr is a command which will be used for executing the expressions. So similarly, you can say expr 4 star. Star is for multiplication. Okay. Space 4 star space star space 5. Okay, it is giving some error, unexpected syntax error. Okay, because star is a meta character, it is giving you the error. expr 4 space star slash star, let us check, slash star 5. expr 4 actually it should work, so escaping the special meaning is through slash. It is maybe the other slash. Okay, we'll find out. So that is the working of expression. Then we have PS command. PS for process status. Okay, so which are all the processes which is currently working, and what is their status, how much time it has taken, what is the ID. See here it is PID, right? PID stands for process ID, TTY stands for terminal. Okay, which terminal it is using, how much time it has taken, and what is the command which is executed. Okay, so the command is PS, and above that you have bash. Bash is a type of shell. There are many types of shells: C shell, T shell, bash shell, Bourne shell. Okay, different types of shells are there. So here it is using bash shell, and the command which is used is PS. So how much amount of time it has taken? It is taking very small amount of time. That's why it is giving you 00. It will be in terms of microseconds. Okay. Okay, so now we have completed 50 minutes of the class. The other commands we will discuss in the next class. So please practice all these commands before you come to the next class. Thank you. Have a good day.